Hey guys, so as you can see from the title of this video is going to be different than any of my other videos, only because I've never done a book review on YouTube, and I'm trying to get comfortable. Sorry. Not because I don't read books, because I do read a lot of books, but I just haven't found a book that I could just be like, you know, you have to read this book. This book is the best book ever. That in this case, this book is the best book I ever read. So, yeah, I feel that strongly about it. That strongly that you guys should go out and read it. If you can get it at the library, get it at the library. But anyway, this book is called Become Who You Were Meant to Be by Souza. It has another part of the title, but whatever. You get it. You'll find it like that. But anyway, this is a book that's qualified as a self-help book. I don't know why self-help books are so like stigmatized that somebody's a loser because they read it or something. That's stupid. But I just think that it's just a really good book, and it could help anybody. It could help everybody, you know. But especially people who are maybe lost in their lives, maybe who are contemplating, you know, changing their job to a different kind of job, or it can help a lot of people. It even has stuff about weight loss, and it has about little things about you know, improving your relationship, all kinds of things that you can, you know, find out about reading this book. I'm just going to tell you a little bit about the format of the book. Every chapter, there's like 30 chapters in this book. Every chapter, it starts off with a quote, and then it gives you an inspirational story about a person, or many inspirational stories about a person, and then it gives you words of wisdom. It also gives you like something, an inspirational story to think about, and then a question or questions that you could use to look within yourself to better yourself. The beginning of the book really caught my attention just because that I've been going through that for, you know, maybe 2 or 3 years, maybe longer than that, maybe since 2009. I don't know. Since whenever it was that I went to New York to go to that school for makeup artistry. I don't know if you guys know about that, but I did. Anyway, let me go ahead and tell you about this book because I don't want to rant off. Anyway, the book starts off with a little bit of, you know, statistics, and and another thing about this book is that it gives you statistics whenever you need it, and it also gives you inspirational stories. And to me, that catches my attention because those are real stories of real people that it actually happened to, you know, and it's very inspiring. But anyway, let me give you a little bit of statistics that he talks about at the beginning of the book. At first he talks about, as you know, us Americans, you know, we live in like the richest country that this world has ever seen. You know, we have access to like opportunity and, you know, water and food and just things that there's other countries that are missing all those things that we already have. So he talks about how paradoxical it is that even though we have access to all these things and all these amenities, whatever, a lot of us are depressed. There's 10 times more depression than there was in 1945. There's more suicide. And even though we have like 3 times more leisure hours than, you know, our great grandparents had, and even though all that, you know, compared to other people, he compares us to Nigerians. He says that, you know, in Nigeria, there's, out of 10 people, you ask 10 people if they're happy, 7 of them will say that they're extremely happy. And, you know, they live on less than $1 a day. They might not live to be 52 years old, and it's like they're more happy than we are, you know. And he says it all has to do with the economic problem. He says, you know, whenever we were like a long time ago when we were cave people, we had to get up in the morning and had to fight for our lives, basically, and figure out how we were going to make it through the day just to survive. And that would give us it would give us like a motivation to get up, and it would put meaning in our life. He says that because we don't have those problems anymore, as Americans, we don't wake up and think, oh my God, we have to go kill a bison today to eat. Most of us don't have to do that. So he says that gives way to like problems that we have. And some of those problems are, I'm quoting him, commercially created values, instant gratification of self-absorption, perpetual discontent. That's all the problems that we have. And he says, we want what we want when we want it, and even if we do get it, we're still unhappy. And I can see that, and you can see that on YouTube all the time. I've done it myself where I'm like, oh look, I bought this thing, and I didn't really need it, but I'm gonna buy it anyway. And even when I did get it, I didn't even use it. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I see that in myself. So anyway, the book goes on, to talk about how it came to be, how he decided that he was going to make the book. And, he talks about his story. He talks about, really quick, his story was basically, he was born and raised in California. And his parents, he had like there's four of them. And he's like the second of the four children. And his parents owned this, it was like a business for like farming equipment. And he was saying that when he was growing up in the 80s, sometimes because there was a market crash in the 80s, that sometimes they were like lucky to have milk in their Cheerios, and even though they didn't have much when he was growing up, they made do with what they had. And he was happy because in the things you can't buy, he was rich at. His parents showed him love, and so that was like what he needed. When he was little, like when he was around 11 or something, he started doing like odd jobs, like delivering papers and like cutting lawns and stuff to make extra money, like spending money. And when he graduated high school, he went to a community college, and he was also had like other jobs. Then he was like worked at a grocery store. He worked at Olive Garden. He did like a few jobs, and he saved up in 2 years enough money to graduate from San Diego State. So he moved there, and he got a degree in international business. After he did that, then he went to like technical, like he was employed by like technical companies, and he switched jobs, ever so often or something. But then he landed on this other company, and by the time he was like 27, he was like, he had made it. He was making like a 6-figure income. He was married. He had expensive vacations, all the toys he could ever want. And what he noticed was that he wasn't happy. That in a span of like a few months, he lost like six of his family members. He says, sometimes when your family members are older in age, you can kind of accept it because, it's not that hard because you already knew that it was coming, and because you already expected it. But when it happens to somebody like his cousin died of like diabetes. She was only like 36 years old. So that he took it harder because she wasn't supposed to die at 36. People aren't supposed to die at 36. So he decided that he wasn't happy, and he quit his job. He basically quit his job. He went with his wife on a sabbatical, and he just had a ticket to Portugal, and a ticket like 3 months later, another ticket for Turkey, I think he said. And he took this sabbatical. He downsized everything. They changed, they had like a big house, and they got a 1-bedroom apartment. And he even said that his couch didn't even fit in the living room to his new apartment. So he was thinking that when he take that trip, that he would find out what he loved in his life, and it didn't happen that way. So when he came back, he was searching for something else to do. He turned down a few like business opportunities, because he just didn't feel like that those were the right things to do. Then he would go to like motivational speeches, and he would pay a lot of money to hear it, and he would feel like, yeah, he was motivated for a week or 2 weeks or whatever, but after a little bit, then he would, be back to his normal rut, and he was coming back from one motivational speech where he's like, or seminar, I mean, that he had spent like $5,000 on it, and he was like, am I really searching for motivation, or am I really searching for something to be motivated about? So it's like he, would read all these books, and all these books would always say that it's motivation that, you should be looking for, but really it's not that. He talks about how the book came to be, where he decided that he was going to write the book because of his experience. And he interviewed a lot of people, he did research, he did like 10,000 hours of research, and like so much money he spent into like interviewing people and just finding out whatever he could to make this book. And anyway, the point of the story is, he tells you what you can do. He has like steps and stuff that you can take, but basically the whole book is just basically about, people who have come from a very humble beginning and then have decided that they were going to do something, or something caused them, or somebody said something to them, or that triggered something in them to where they decided that they were going to be a different person, or they were going to achieve something that they love to do. And most people that are successful is because they follow their dreams and they headed in that direction. They might have headed in that direction quicker than you, and maybe that's what got them to be where they are now. So it's like he talks about chapter 3. I think chapter 3 is one of my favorite chapters because he talks about life patterns, and that's where I was thinking that that's a chapter that everybody could benefit from. If there's something that you are unhappy about in your life, maybe you're overweight, or maybe you don't have luck in relationships, or maybe you don't like your job, or maybe you're in debt, or whatever it is, if you look within yourself and if you look back at all the patterns that you've done, like all the things that you keep doing, then you will find a reason why you are in the place that you are right now. So he talks about how little decisions every day, we might not make that, there aren't any life-changing events or decisions that you have to make every day, but little things that we do every day. He goes on about to say about one day. He talks about how, let's say that you wake up, late today, and so because you wake up late, you don't have time to eat regular breakfast or healthy breakfast, so you grab a donut. Then he talks about how, okay, maybe after that you go to work and there's too much work, and then you decide that you're not going to eat a regular lunch, that you're just going to eat like a soda, drink a soda, and get something from the vending machine. And then after work you don't have time for dinner, so you don't have time to go to the gym or something, and then you decide to skip the gym, and then you decide that you don't have time for to make or to cook something for dinner, so then you decide to get fast food. So maybe that one day you've made wrong decisions, but if you string along so many of those decisions, little decisions that you've done, that adds up to a greater thing in your life. That adds up. And how many times have I done that? Like I think about it and I'm like, oh my God, I've totally done that. I'm like, you know what, it's cold outside, I don't want to go to the gym, and I don't want to like go and run, you know what I mean? And it's like, how many times have we done that? And he says that if your marriage is not where it needs to be, or if you're overweight, or if you're spending out of control, or if you're not in the place in your life that you want to be, then look at the habits that you have, look at the things that you've been doing for so long, and that's the reason why you're there. And it's like, it makes you think a lot about your life. It makes you think about what you're going to do, what you're going to change, what you're going to strive for. It's just a really good book. No, chapter 3 is one of my favorite books, but he talks about inspirational people all the time. He talks about, here, let me give you a list of the people like that I wrote down. I told you he talks about, did I say that he talks about Howard Schultz? That's the guy that made Starbucks, that owned Starbucks. He talks about Franklin Chen Diaz, who wanted to be an astronaut, and he was born in the wrong country, but he made it happen anyway. He talks about Helen Keller and Anne Sullivan. He talks about Mother Teresa, Oprah, Madam C.J. Walker, who is like the first woman who was a millionaire. And how, for example, she started her business when she only had $1.50 in her savings account. It's like, wow. And then she became a freaking millionaire. He even talks about Lance Armstrong, which, you know, in hindsight now, you know, the book is a little bit outdated because of this whole thing with Lance Armstrong. But his story is still inspirational because even though, you know, he's fallen from grace, as people say, you can still learn from his story. You can learn to not make those same decisions he's made, and look what a freaking mess that he made of his life, you know, and how hopefully one day he'll be able to repair his self. You can learn from that. You can definitely learn that, you know, don't make those stupid ass decisions that he's made. He talks about Leonardo da Vinci. He talks about a lot of freaking people. Einstein. He talks about Winston Churchill. He talks about Emeril Lagasse. He talks about let's see, who is this? Richard Branson. And you guys know who that is. He's really interesting. He's a really interesting guy. Anyway, so this book is just an awesome book, and if you ever get a chance to read it, I would suggest that you do. But yeah, I would definitely think that this book is more for people who are lost in their lives, or they just want, you know, to find out, or to be given a direction into where to start. It's a start, basically. It's a start to a new life. If you really, you know, want to change your life, if you really will have something that you want to change, then this book could definitely get you in the right direction. So I feel like it's just the best book ever. And, you know, yeah, that's basically all I have to say. It's like 20 minutes, but I'm going to edit it. So this has been a little bit long, but you know what I mean. If you have any questions, just put them down below and I'll get to it and I will read you back. And I guess that's it, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Bye.